Sir, could you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Yes, first name is Zachary, Z-A-C-H-A-R-Y. Last is Batchleor, B-A-T-C-H-E-L-O-R.
And what do you do for a living?
I am employed as a detective sergeant with Michigan State Police Audio and Video Analysis Unit.
And what are your responsibilities with the Michigan State Police Audio and Visual Analysis Unit?
So with the Audio Video Analysis Unit, I typically deal with anything pertaining to video or audio. Through the course of my employment with them, I started in this unit back in 2020, where I had to obtain a certain level of training through LEVA, Law Enforcement and Emergency Services Video Association, where I became a technician, went through their first 3 core courses, and while currently employed with the state, I do export video off of DVR systems. I will attempt to clarify video images. I will create images from video. I will create timelines of video, or if there's multiple sources, I will put them into one video file. And I will do some audio clarification work.
Okay. Now you talked a little bit about your background in terms of, you talked about LEVA. Can you go a little bit more in depth of what is this LEVA training? What is it, and what did you have to go through?
Yeah, so through LEVA, the first 2 courses, each are individual courses. They are a full 40 hours, where you do learn basics of like video enhancement, video work, how to export, and different techniques of video work. And after you complete those the first 2 levels, after you take a test and a practical, then you become certified as a technician through that organization.
Okay. In terms of you have to pass a test to become certified, if you will?
Yes.
What sort of test is that?
There's a practical exam, and there is a multiple answer question type exam.
And when were you officially certified through LEVA?
That was the early part of 2021.
So in terms of getting certified, after you get certified, what do your duties entail working for the state police? How do you get cases? Could you describe a little bit better for the jury what you do?
So as my employment through the state police and with this, I've done approximately 600 cases, or just over 600 cases to date through the state police as my employment with this unit. And typically what happens, we will be contacted by a officer in charge of a particular investigation, and then they will ask us for assistance, whether it's like clarification of a particular individual on the video, whether it's a timeline that they're putting together for a courtroom demonstrative, if they need help exporting video, but usually we'll always start with the officer or a person involved in the investigation will contact us.
And if they contact you, what do you do then?
I will get the video from them, and then I will then start my process.
Okay. And so does it depend on what they're looking for in each case? Each case is a little bit different in what they're looking for in the video or audio stuff, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, you passed your certification in 2021. Do you do anything to keep up to date? I mean, videos and technology changes. Do you do anything to keep up to date, any additional training since 2021?
Yes, every 3 years through LEVA, we have to have approximately 80 hours of continuing education credits, just additional trainings that's pertinent to the field of audio and video. And at that point, we have to update our curriculum vitae, and along with the certificates, and that those have to be submitted to LEVA so that our technician certification can then be brought back into good standing every 3 years.
And you maintain that?
Yes, I have.
And you still maintain a certification with LEVA?
Yes,
even
I have.
at this day?
Correct.
Do you do any teaching yourself?
Yes, I will do some teaching at our word I'm looking for, our like training lab, I guess you could say, where we have multiple DVR systems in our training lab where we will teach investigators how to export video off of those systems.
And how many times have you done that?
I believe with this unit twice, I want to say, if I recall correctly.
And you testified before as an expert in video technology and as a certified video technician.
Yes, I have.
How many times have you done that?
I've testified, I want to say 5 or 6 times, and I've been qualified as an expert 1 time.
And this time I'd like to qualify as an expert as a certified video technician to do with audio visual. Your Honor? No objection to the qualification, Your Honor?
All right, and you shall be considered an expert in that field.
So obviously you dealt with some videos in this case.
Correct.
Could you tell the jury how you got involved? What exactly took place?
So my supervisor, Mr. Wade Dakin, contacted me and advised that I was to take on this case, which time he was provided a cell phone video, which he forwarded to me. And then I was forwarded a link via email to download a body-worn camera video and a dash cam video.
So in terms of when you get those, you're downloading other videos that are sent to you, what do you do with them when you get them initially?
So what I will do is I will download those and I will hash those, and that applies a 32-digit mathematical type code. It's more or less a unique print to that video, so that I know that like later on, if we have questions, we can go back, hash it again, and those values should match. And if they don't, then we know something is changed somewhere in that video. So I will get those, I'll download those, I will hash those videos, and then depending on my task, for instance, in this task, it was to take those video files, those 3 sources, and they requested me to synchronize those into one video file so they could all be viewed on one video. So at that point, I used a program called AMP5.
Okay. So before we get to that, let's go through the individual videos you got. Will you switch to our side if you could, please? So I'm going to just right now, so you can see it, you recognize this video.
Yes.
What do you recognize this video as?
That I do recognize that as the passenger cell phone.
So this is a cell phone video, the initial video you got.
This is Exhibit 1.
Exhibit 1, correct. I'm going to just switch, since we've seen this a couple times. I'll show you now People's Exhibit 2. You recognize this?
Yes.
What do you recognize this as?
This is the dash camera video that I downloaded.
So the dash cam video from the car that was involved in this incident.
Correct.
We haven't seen the full, so we're going to play that, Your Honor. Hand it, please.
All right.
I'm going to stop right here real quick. You don't hear any sound for the first part of that. Can you explain to the jury why that might be?
It's my understanding there's a lag between when the lights are initiated, and that's when the audio would kick on.
So there's just a little bit of a difference in terms of when you can see it, but you can't hear it until the audio kicks on later.
I'm not 100% sure on how their system is set up, but I believe even with our camera systems that there's a delay from when it kicks on.
Hey, stay in the car! Stay in the car!
Nelson and Grace. running northbound, additional units now 7 Graves. You right, bro?
X250, turn more cars.
1915, what's your location? What's your location?
How many times you got going?
Everyone. Six in total.
This is 5,000 knots in the grade.
It is.
1915. Oh, this. All the shooting. That'll be great.
1915, 10-4, Nelson and Griggs. Sorry, medical.
I'm Nelson. From the Griggs, that's the floor. Don't break down.
Nelson.
Nelson,
Nelson, North, Griggs, suspect down.
1920, I've seen. 1610, what's your subject? The access to any weapons, and what do you mean? 1950, that's my taser.
So that was the in-car video that you initially, that was the second thing you got in this case?
So after watching that, because it was a shortened duration, that wouldn't have been the entire dash cam that I would have received at the very beginning. That would have been a shortened version where I had just brought it down more to the time of interest. I believe that was when the passenger was being ordered back by officers arriving on scene is when I stopped that, just to be more concise with
So this is the
the
edited
synchronization.
portion after you got a longer video that
Correct.
goes a little bit beyond what we see here.
Correct.
Now I'm going to show, this is exhibit 3 now. You recognize Exhibit 3 here.
Yes, as the body worn camera.
So this is, when you say body worn camera, this is a camera that's actually on the officer when it records.
Correct.
Play this since we haven't seen this here.
Nelson, Corset Graves, Edward King Hall, 9367. Hey, stay in the car! Stay in the car! Stay in the car! Get in the car! Dude, I'm stopping you. You have a license? Do you have a license?
What?
I'm stopping you. Do you have a license?
What now?
Do you have a driver's license? Do you speak English?
Yes.
Can I see your license?
What now?
The plate doesn't belong on this car. Do you have a license or no? Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Where is it at?
He's in the car.
Get it for me.
What now?
The plate does not belong on this car.
Okay. Nothing on that, no record. What do you think?
No. Stop. Put your hands up. Stop. 1950. Yeah, we're on it. North south. Stop.
Okay.
Stop. Get your hands behind your back. Hands behind your back. Turn your hand behind your back. $19.50. 34 cars. Stop! Stop resisting! Let go of the taser!
Now, in terms of this, you talk about you kind of edited the body cam video. Did you do any editing of this, or just the body cam essentially turn off at this point in time?
No, I did not do any shortening of the body cam
So,
footage.
for whatever reason, the body cam turned off at this portion of the incident.
That's correct.
And you didn't have anything more to show out of the body cam.
No.
Now, you talked a little bit about putting these things together. What did you do for that?
So in this particular request, I used AMP5, and there's a filter called multi-view, and I can create anywhere from I believe I can go up to 4, 5, 6 across and 4, 5 down. But in this case, because there was only 3 videos, I did a multi-view of a 2x2, and then I used the software to bring those 3 sources into that filter to create. It was body cam up top, dash cam on the bottom, and upper right was the cell phone video.
Now, in terms of when you say, what is AMP5? Can you give maybe a little bit of
AMP5 is a software that we use that allows us to do some enhancements.
Maybe take that, sure, I'll do my realize, I did not realize it was up there, yeah. I'll stop right here.
It allows us to do to where I can create views like that. I can export sequential images, which in video, each frame is in essence a like its own like image. So I can tell it to go from A to B and export them all out. There are some enhancement features, clarification features in this particular request. I did export out multiple variations to this because in this software I can only utilize one audio source at a time. And then I've also created with just the body cam and the cell phone video side by side, minus the dash cam.
So specifically, this is Exhibit 4 now, and this contains which videos are in this one?
This is a body cam, the dash cam, and I believe the cell phone will come up. The one, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, now, if you get, when you talk about it, how do you sync it, if you will? They're kind of, they're all showing at the same time. Can you describe how you make it so they're all
So
at the same time?
there's multiple ways to do that. Like in this instance with the dash cam and the body cam, I used the encoded date and time on it. So I started them at the same point. And then when we got to when the cell phone was coming on, I attempted to find a sync point. You can use audio for that. You can look at events. I believe in one of them I used, once those two were synced on the left, it observed where it looked like a knee was coming off the ground in the cell phone and in one of those videos. So I was able to sync. It might not be 100%, but it's close. But the best viewing option outside of this is to watch those on their own. Would be the best, but for courtroom demonstrative, that's why we do these multi-views like this.
Why do you say it's best to do it watching each on their own? Why is that?
Because they would be full size, and like you get the actual video versus it going into these multi-views. It can kind of shrink them down slightly so that they can fit on the screen.
Right. But in terms of shrinking it down, it doesn't change the video necessarily. It doesn't do anything to the video. It's still the same video. It just makes it smaller.
Correct.
Now I'm going to play Exhibit 4, Your Honor.
All right.
Nelson, North of Grace, all 9367. Hey, stay in the car! Stay in the car! Stay in the car! Get in the car! Dude, I'm stopping you. You have a license? Do you have a license?
What?
I'm stopping you. Do you have a license?
What up?
Do you have a driver's license? Do you speak English?
Yes.
Can I see your license?
What up? No.
The plate doesn't belong on this car. Do you have a license or no? Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Where is it at?
It's in the car.
Get it for me.
What up? No.
The plate does not belong on this car.
Oh, no. Nothing on that, my wife. Okay.
No, no, no. Stop, stop. Put your hands up. Stop. 1950. Yeah, we're on it. Stop. Stop. Get your hands behind your back, okay? Hands behind your back, okay? Get your hands behind your back. 1950, start with more card. Stop. Stop resisting. Let go of the taser. Let go of the taser.
Now, in terms of this, which audio were you using for this specific video?
I was using the body cam audio for that.
Any particular reason you chose the body cam audio?
When I was asked for this request, I did something similar. I did just the body cam, and then on a different video, I did just the cell phone, and then on a different one, I synced them both together using a second program, Adobe Premiere Pro, where I was able to export the cell phone audio as its own audio file, loaded this video I loaded this video into Adobe Premiere Pro, where I was able, as soon as the cell phone video activated, I then aligned the audio for that particular cell phone and then exported that out as a viewable MP4.
But in this specific one, it was just the body cam video, the audio.
That's correct.
Now we can go now. You talk about this is going to be Exhibit 5, Your Honor, I believe. Exhibit 5. So, kind of before we get into it, when you talk about sequential, could you explain to the jury what the sequential images is? What is that? What does that do?
So, when you do sequential images, it in essence churns video into just a long string of individual images, basically in essence creating a flip book, if you will. I initially was asked to slow down the video, which I would not do, because when you slow down video, it changes the perception of what actually took place. So I provided this, per their request, I provided them in the sequential images.
So you talk about sequential images, and we'll start going through it right now. This is the initial body cam, just from the body cam. This isn't a multi-view, this is just from the body cam.
Correct. And down there on the bottom, that would be the frame number pertaining to the frame number in the video.
So this is just like you say, it's like the flip book you used to do with your kids.
Correct.
How are you able to get each frame? You got 3202, 3204. Can you describe for the jury how you're able to do that in a digital technique?
So I'm able to do that using software AMP5. There's a filter called Sequence Writer, which at that point, when I open and apply that filter, I can then put in a particular frame number for it to start and end, and then I can export those out as a BMP image, a bitmap image, into a folder.
So in terms of when you say a bitmap image, this is just that image is each one of these.
Correct. This would be, if you were to watch the video, each in that video. All these images are in that video.
How did you come up with this section, if you will? Why this section?
It was provided to me by the investigator as his request.
So when you talk to the investigator, you're talking about Detective Tuber.
Yes.
And that's where it kind of stops there. You didn't do the whole incident for this entire thing, did you? You weren't able to do a sequential image from the start to finish.
No, there were multiple sections. I was given a section at one point, and then a few months later, I was asked to do more.
So this exhibit specifically the body cam. We're going to go down to exhibit 6 now. You specifically looked at the cell phone as well?
Yes.
Get through this. Is there any difference in terms of the cell phone versus the body cam when you do the sequential?
No, it's the same process.
It doesn't depend on, in-car video is different than a cell phone video.
No.
Go through this. And once again, how did you decide this section? Was this in conjunction with Detective Tuber as well?
Yes.
One thing, there's no sound here. Are you able to do this with sound?
No, not exporting images.
I'm going to stop a little over here. Now we've got kind of an orange box that appears. Can you tell the jury what we're looking at here now?
So this is a filter that you can apply called Magnify, and that is magnified at 200%, so it's just doubled. And kind of the process with that is you draw the black box, tell it the area that you wish for it to magnify, and then it can be pulled outside, and then that box can be applied just so that it shows that area of focus.
Does it change anything? Does it change the video? Does it change anything about what you're doing when you magnify it at all?
Yes, when you magnify, you are in essence changing. It will enlarge, but it has to make up for those areas that aren't there anymore, which is a interpolation, as they call it. But that's the end result.
I think you should have a laser pointer right there. Let's see.
Yeah.
Got it. Now, what is this arrow? Why are we seeing this arrow somewhere?
There's some changing in some pixels there, and that was just after the shot was heard,
Okay, in terms of changing the pictures, would that be the casing, if you will?
possibly.
So essentially, that's the moment the shot was fired would be right about here.
Sort of around that time, yes.
There's one more of the sequential photographs you did. This would be Exhibit 7 now. This is Exhibit 7. So what sequential range are we doing here?
So that this was just a request of call right prior to the body cam turning off was the request.
So that's where it stops there, and that's approximately when the body cam turned off.
If I recall correctly. Or I had so many, that may have been the one over the struggle for the taser, because it was still on at that point.
But that would be the body cam video and the cell phone video.
Correct.
Take that off. One more, Your Honor. I have nothing for you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Detective Batchleor.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name's Matt Borgula. I represent Christopher Schurr. All right, so I just had a few questions for you. You testified about the timing of when the sound comes on, and I want to clear that up a little bit. You've reviewed a lot of dash cams.
It's been a few.
Yeah, I mean your job is a forensic examiner of videos, right?
Correct.
Okay, and there's a lot of body cams too, right?
There is, yes.
And so, in your experience, the dash cams and the body cams, they're always on, right?
I don't.
Well, if the officer's out and about, they're recording, but they're not just saving everything, right? And if you don't know the answer to this, then
Yeah, I don't know the timing before. I know, if I'm not mistaken, that there's a lag to where if it's activated, I believe there might be like a prior storage in essence, but I'm not.
would we be better asking someone who is familiar with the body cams and the dash cams from GRPD?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to ask you about something you don't know about. Okay, so you I think you said you shortened one of the videos, and that was the dash cam, right?
At one point, yes.
Okay. So there's more to that video than what was displayed before the jury, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it involves the officers that show up later?
And all the additional responding personnel.
Okay. I know you talked about how you took your the videos and you broke it down into sequential images.
Correct.
And you mentioned something about how you don't want to do slow motion because that doesn't reflect what actually happened in real time.
Correct.
Wasn't that slow motion just like a flip book, just one at a time?
It could possibly be that.
So that's not real time either. That's just broken down into each frame.
Correct.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with slowing it down, right? You're just saying that's not how fast it took, right?
There are instances where it may be more appropriate than others.
Okay. Did somebody ask you to do the sequential images?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now, do you know what a relative frame number is?
Yes.
Okay. When you did your sync video, the one with the 3 cameras, did you do a relative frame number on your video?
I did. Well, I provided, and I believe it was after the prelim, it was brought up that there were some frame numbers on the videos, which I did not do on the initial round, but I put frame numbers on my later portions.
Okay, and the ones we
Those
just
were-
saw doesn't have those?
Just, no.
Okay, all right. So there's no way to refer to them by relative frame number?
Correct.
All right.
Based on those videos, correct.
The sequential videos that are part of the exhibit, how many actual pictures are there?
I'd have to look in my report or count them.
Is it more than 100?
Yes, there was a lot.
Is it thousands?
Yes, I want to say it was over 1,000
Okay.
cumulatively. It was a lot.
All right. And, the body cam goes off. You don't know anything about why the body cam would have gone off either, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just on, in terms of the slow motion use, I thought your initial testimony was slow motion, you didn't want to do slow motion because that's not appropriate.
That's correct, because if I put a video in slow motion, while it's in action, it slows down what the actual video was.
But then you said sometimes you thought it would be appropriate, that's what I thought I heard you say on cross-exam. Not quite sure if I understand.
At times, there could be an instance where it might be appropriate to do so.
But in your view, this time was not.
Correct.
And why not specifically in this instance?
Because this is a use of force case, and slowing down and changing the perception of what's happening could be detrimental to the court.
All right, thank you. Can I follow up on that?
Yes.
All right, so I guess I don't understand the difference between slow-mo and then taking 1,000 images and doing it consecutively so it goes frame by frame by frame by frame. Isn't that what slow-mo is?
No, I would say that a slow-mo is it playing in a video, but at a slower rate than what it was intended to play. Whereas a sequential image is just an image that can be looked at individually, which are the frames, individual
And the
frames.
concern is you want whoever watches the video to see how the actual speed in which things took place.
Correct.
Okay. Because that was the perception of the people that were there.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
And I don't see hands raised on the jury. May this witness be excused?
Okay, Your Honor.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you.